We wrap up our Utah GOP candidate profiles now with Chadwick Fairbanks. Chadwick, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate that.
Let's go ahead and start with your background. Talk to us a little bit about what you've done in life that you feel qualifies you to lead the Republican Party here in the state of Utah.
It's a good question, Glenn. So I've spent a great deal of time of my professional career serving in the United States Army, and I've traveled the world. Obviously, since 2001, we've been at war. But in my travels, it brought me to the state of Utah, and I was just overwhelmed with how amazing the state is on so many levels compared to where I come from in the Chicago area, and decided at that point I wanted to relocate my family here and call this home. I've been a lifelong conservative, and it was my experience with the federal government as a contractor and just my military experience that led me to become more involved in politics in general, particularly here in Utah where it's very conservative.
And you've been involved on the political arena with veterans issues as well.
Correct.
Talk about that.
Correct. So I actually ran for U.S. Congress last year against Congressman Bishop for Congressional District 1. But following that loss to Congressman Bishop, I then, with the help of some other veterans and some other Republicans, we founded the Utah Republican Veterans Caucus, and was shortly elected the chairman thereafter. And so I've been participating in the executive committee and the central committee meetings ever since.
And what are some of the things you guys have been focusing on with that caucus?
So the idea of the caucus is basically to give the veterans of Utah and veterans issues a bigger voice in state government, state and federal government, helping lobby for things that are important to them.
So what then makes you want to make the transition from that experience to leading the dominant party here in the state of Utah? Why did you make that decision to run for chair?
Well, as you well know, and a lot of Republicans here in the state knows, that the party has been very divisive over some key political issues. And I've been on the front lines of those issues. I've been to all the meetings. I've been in the trenches. I've seen the fight firsthand. And there's hurt feelings on all sides. It's very vitriolic, and basically party business has ground to a standstill, and so have donations as well. And so the party is definitely probably at one of its lowest points ever, and it's time to rebuild. And so I think my service in the military has trained me and given me the experience necessary to take over the helm of the party.
So what's your stance if elected as chair on SB 54? Is it time to let bygones be bygones and move on, or would you continue to fight against SB 54?
Most definitely let bygones be bygones. It's definitely time to start a new season in the party, a season of healing, bringing the two sides of that issue together. As far as any discontent over SB 54, anybody that doesn't like that law, they need to take that up with their lawmaker, like they would any other bad law, and have them change it. But as far as party business is concerned and party fighting, it's not an issue to me anymore inside the party.
Would you personally encourage your lawmaker to repeal SB 54, or do you think it's what the party wants and it's how you should go forward?
Well, my current lawmaker would be Representative Quinn, and I've had a few conversations with him about it. Representative Handy has been my representative in the past as well, and we've talked about it as well. I think SB 54 at its root needs to be amended or altered, if not all the way repealed. I liken the SB 54 battle to a lot of the calls by some folks to end the electoral college system. And I think the convention caucus system is basically the fundamental element of the electoral college system that we use to elect presidents. I think it's a good form of republicanism. And so even though I personally don't like the law itself, it is the law, and I have no problem as state party chair supporting candidates who pursue the signature path.
This divide that you bring up, it's been a common theme throughout this entire show. As you know, everyone's well aware of it. Was it costly to the Republican Party on election night?
Ultimately, I don't think so. Most of the candidates who do dual path end up getting their nominations in the convention anyways. I think the major loss last season was Mia Love's seat in CD4.
And is that a result of a divided Republican Party?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I was not optimistic of Mia's re-election as of this time last year looking at the data from her 2014 election and her 2016 re-election, she was on what's seeming to be a downward trajectory, and I didn't see her making the necessary corrections to avoid a loss in 2018.
So what would the role of the Republican Party be in a race like that? I have about 30 seconds left. How should the party support a candidate?
Well, the party should definitely support the candidate in terms of mobilizing the base, getting out the vote, increasing the voter rolls to begin with so there are more eligible Republicans to vote for our candidates, but then also funding the candidate, and that's huge. The candidates should not have to feel all alone and ostracized financially. But I would say candidate selection and recruitment's a big deal.
All right. We are going to have to end it on that note.
Sure.
We appreciate your time. We'll be watching on Saturday to see how it all plays out.
Thanks,
Thank you so much for making us part of your Sunday morning. We hope to see you again next week as we go inside Utah politics.